Hi. I'm feeling like a real fool right about now, considering the fact that I said this bonus video would never happen. But behold, I am here doing a bonus video for Mighty Switch Force 2. The reason for that being I forgot one of the most important things I started at the very beginning of the series, which was naming enemies. Official GeekoVision certified, stamped straight on the forehead, stamp of GeekoVision approval, enemy terminology, and it slipped my mind. It just slipped my mind. So here I am, I'm gonna be talking about all the enemy terminology that I have handpicked, cream of the crop. Okay, not actually. I just chose whatever I thought sounded the best or the funniest. So it's a very loose, quote-unquote official enemy terminology list. And I chose a lot of these just based on personal views, and whether or not they were necessarily the best choices or not, that's up for debate. But I just liked a lot of them, and I'm happy that everyone, or all the people that did decide to send in enemy names, I'm so happy they did it, because I had a lot of fun with that. It was a really interesting aspect, and it made me laugh a lot of times because of enemy names, and I loved them a lot, and also made me go, oh my god, that's a lot of thought put into something that I would never even think about. So it surprised me in a lot of different ways. But more importantly, let's start off with the first guy I talked about, Greenie. Whatever I called him, I forget. I probably called him Greenie, because I remember making a Luigi's Mansion joke in my head, but not out loud. I don't remember. I'm gonna move on. I ended up choosing the name Vamped, which was by Airhead, and it fits. It fits really well, actually. That's one of the main reasons I chose it. It's because it fits. He's a little vampire bat. He's vamped. Get it? Cool. It's a really good name. I like it a lot. It fits the character very well. I don't know. It just kind of... It seems like it fits. It seems like that little bat dude would be called Vamped. It seems like a really good official name. So, that's why I chose it. Moving on to the next Spiky Boy. I forget what I called him. Probably Spiky Boy, knowing how creative I am. And I chose Chunky Charles from the Joe Bro Show. Because, oh my god, I don't know why, it speaks to me. The name Chunky Charles, the alliteration is there. He's chunky. I can see him as a Charles. He looks like the type of guy that would punch into work, you know, just start working, and people would be like, hey Charles, how's it going? He's like, you know, I'm just making it by, I'm making through, I'm making the amount of money I need to feed my children and my kids. He seems like a really down-to-earth Charles type of guy, you know? You see the little circle under his eye, under his red eye, that looks like a little, what's the word for it? I don't know, it looks like he has dark circles under his eyes, because he's working so hard to provide for his family, and I feel like that's a Charles type of guy. So that's why I chose Chunky Charles. It's also just it's an inherently funny name, so Chunky Charles it is. Next is Pinky, is probably what I also called him. I genuinely don't remember what the exact names I gave to these guys were. That's how loosely I was throwing these names around. But, the name I ended up choosing was Chigulp by Airhead. You're gonna kind of see a little bit of a running theme with the people who sent these names in. Or commented them, rather. I say sent it in like they sent it in like a little envelope. Sent it in the mail, and I'm like, oh, thanks for this envelope you sent in with all these enemy names. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, moving on. Chigulp. The reason I said that, Chigulp, the reason I chose it is because I think it just works. He looks like the type of guy that would gulp down water, and he does. Quite frequently, actually. So Chigulp works very well. He also kind of looks like a Choo-Choo from The Legend of Zelda a tiny bit, just because of his like really nauseatingly pink color. And usually Choo-Choos have that one like they have that one color that just goes throughout their entire body because they're just like a slime blob. And I don't know, the pink just gives me this. It makes me reminisce of slime. I don't know why, I don't know how, I genuinely think of it that way, so I think it fits in more ways than one. And I'm also kind of giving my own reasoning behind, like, personal reasoning why I chose some of these. And I know it has literally nothing to do with what the actual intent of the people were. I'm not trying to trample on their creative freedom, I'm just saying this is why I personally decided to choose some of these names, so. Sorry if that offends anyone, I apologize. Next is Peter. P-E-A-T-E-R. Like, you know, stuff Cole's made out of. It's really cool, actually, and it's a really chill name for an enemy that blows up on contact with almost anything. And I just love this name so much. It's so fitting, and it's such a chill name for such a crazy dude, you know, and he looks a little silly, so he's just named Peter. He's just got that name Peter. It actually fits very, very well with his being what he's made out of, so it's a cool name, it works, it's funny, it fits his cute demeanor, and I just like it, because it makes a lot of sense, and it's real cool. That was also by Airhead, by the way. Forgot to mention, I apologize. That was by Airhead as well. Next up is Stick Tack. The reason that he was given this name was because he sticks onto things, and he looks like a little bit of a tack. My own personal headcanon, though, is that he looks like a little Tic Tac with an eye. If you look at like a Tic Tac laying down on its side, he looks like a Tic Tac with an eye, with a little party hat on. He's sort of Tic Tac enjoying himself, so Stick Tack works pretty well, in my opinion, and I like it a lot. Thank you, Airhead. Thank you, Airhead, for all your amazing names. Next up is this evil-looking, menacing dinosaur named Frank. Thank you, Joe. By the way, this is a great name for this guy. I don't know why. He just seems like a Frank. To be frank, Frank speaks to me. The name Frank works so well, and, you know, there was another name that was very close. It was Smashtrodon, and that is great. I love that name as well. Thank you, Airhead. But just being frank, I love the name Frank, and it fits him so well. You know, Frank seems like the type of guy who, deep down inside, has a good demeanor, and he really loves everyone that's around him. He cares for everyone. But, you know, sometimes you just get him mad, in this case spraying water on him, and he just charges at you because, you know, he's building up all this pent-up frustration from keeping in all this anger and this sadness, because he puts on a happy face for all the people around him, because he wants them to be happy. So when you come out of nowhere and spray him with water, he's like, dude, what are you doing? And he just snaps, you know, and he starts running at you. And, you know, I just think Frank, it sounds like a Frank. Sounds like a Frank type of guy. Next up is a variation of Frank. It is Ignosaur by Airhead. And, this is just, it makes sense. There's no other explanation I can give for this. It makes sense. It works very well. Moving on. Next up is the next variation of Frank. It's the Trifleratops by Airhead. And, this actually works very, very well for a few reasons. First of all, he's a dinosaur, so it's like Triceratops, but it's Trifleratops because there's multi-layered reasons for this. He shoots fire out of his mouth, first of all. Second of all, on occasion, he shoots 3 fireballs, so Trifleratops. I was giving him poetry snaps, because that was actually really creative, and I really like that a lot. So, good on you. That was a fantastic name. And last but not least, the final boss is Drakenbake by Airhead. Now, I'd like to read out the actual reason that the name Drakenbake was chosen. It goes as such. Like Shake and Bake, but with a dragon. So, you know, Shake and Bake, crispy seasoned chicken, that delectable stuff, which I can kind of see. Looking at him, actually, he's kind of close. He's got the whole, like, he looks kind of like a chicken with his head, and he's got the whole, like, crusted vibe going on. He looks a little crusty. So I'm down for that explanation. But, one of the main reasons I chose this, before I even knew what, Flake and Bake was, I think is what it was called. I don't even remember. Shake and Bake, that's right. Before I even knew what Shake and Bake was, I just imagined Drake and Josh, and just seeing such a menacing creature, and having the image of Drake and Josh just inside my head at the same time. It felt right. It felt like it was meant to be. It was meant to be. But with that being said and done, this is the list of all of the I can't speak. Enemy terminology. That works. This is all of it. This is the GeekoVision approved stamp on the head enemy terminology, and that's it. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this series a lot. I enjoyed all of the interaction I had on it. It was a crap ton of fun. Speaking isn't fun. Anyway, I will see you next time whenever I do whatever content I do. Not sure if it's going to be the next Let's Play yet. Not sure if it's going to be something completely different. We'll have to wait and see. But until then.